Donald Trump's not waiting around to see what's going to happen in a courtroom with Judge Breyer in San Francisco, who's likely to stay Donald Trump and block his federalization of the California National Guard. No, he's pulling out all the stops following a blueprint he set with Harvard and the attack on Harvard, now using that same playbook against California, threatening to take away their educational grants and funding through the Department of Education because they're not playing ball with his fascist tendencies. Neither do we here on Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok. You're at the intersection of law and politics. Thanks for being here with me. Hit the subscribe button. It does help our show. Let's move on to the latest in the developments. What have we seen so far? Donald Trump wasting $134 million or more of our taxpayer dollars. Pete Hegseth going into Congress and being unable to answer simple, basic questions like, show me where in the statute that gives Donald Trump the power to send in the National Guard and Marines into California. Well, you and I both know it's there somewhere. That's effectively what Hegseth said in response. Then we have, on top of that, Donald Trump basically admitting in an interview earlier today that he complied with the law the first time around when it came to rioting and peaceful civil disobedience happening on the streets of America in his first term, but he's not going to make that mistake again. No. He's going to rush in quickly and abuse power and send in the National Guard, even if governors don't ask him to do, except that's basically an admission by Trump that he's violated the law, is ultra vires rogue, and has violated the 10th Amendment, which is at the core of the case brought by California. And now Donald Trump, perhaps sensing that he has a losing hand. I mean, the fact that he hasn't invoked the Insurrection Act tells me all I need to know about Donald Trump. Somewhere, somehow, someone has told him that he's going to lose under the Insurrection Act. So he's going around it. He's using a statute that doesn't really apply here. He's trying to cut out governors when he's not allowed to cut out governors under that statute. And now, perhaps sensing that he will lose, he's trying to go for the solar plexus of California, the way he's attacking vehemently and with tremendous vitriol Harvard. Harvard wouldn't agree to stop their DEI program. Donald Trump cut off billions of dollars of funding to medical research. They wouldn't allow him to take over their faculty, their tenure process, who they're going to let in as students and international students. He went after more funding. He took away their right, or tried to take away their right to issue visas and have student visas and be part of the exchange program, making them competitive with other universities around the world, until a federal judge, Judge Burroughs, stepped in and said, enough, and blocked it. But that same approach, no holds barred, kitchens, everything, including the kitchen sink, kicking California while they're down, kicking them in the nuts, starting the conflagration in order to claim the right to suppress it, is on full display in California. So it didn't come as any shock to me, nor should to you, that he's now threatening to go after federal funding to California, cutting them out, making them stand alone among the 50 states because they're willing to oppose Donald Trump. I assure you, there are at least another 23 states that are willing to do the same thing if Donald Trump comes after them. But I can't think of a better governor, a better attorney general than Gavin Newsom and Mr. Bonta, the attorney general for California, what they're doing there. And as we wait for Judge Breyer to make that decision to stop and block Donald Trump, whether it's today, tomorrow, or the next day, we have to also focus on the other tricks up Donald Trump's sleeve. You think it was tricky Dick Nixon? We're watching, a grand theft auto. We're watching a kleptocracy in open sight, in plain sight, being played out. So let's say they go there. Let's go through the chess match. So they go after federal funding under the ruse, under the false flag as raised by Linda McMahon, the Department of Education chief, in which she said, well, they're letting transgender athletes participate. And that's a violation of Title IX. We're going to shut down their federal funding. What happens next? Same thing. It'll be the fourth lawsuit in California against the Trump administration, following closely on the heels of this particular suit to stop and block his federalization of the National Guard. which makes California insecure, makes it unable to protect itself from natural disasters and other things like border infiltration, which I thought Donald Trump was really concerned about. So they'll file the next suit. That's the only thing they can do. Their hand will be forced. Another federal suit, another San Francisco federal judge, I'm sure, another motion for an injunction to stop funding from being cut off. And the Supreme Court eventually is going to have to make a decision here about how rogue is rogue and how rogue a president they're willing to tolerate. So far, a lot of rogueness is being tolerated by the United States Supreme Court. Let's see when the case comes up from former Justice of the Supreme Court, Stephen Breyer's brother, because that's the next case. Charles Breyer is involved in a case up in San Francisco, the leading case right now. And then this new case about the Department of Education. Can they do it? No, they should not be able to do it and discriminate against states under a trumped-up ruse. There's all sorts of constitutional violations and 10th Amendment violations that would happen because Donald Trump is striking at the very heart of federalism. What stitches together into a United States is that you treat all states equally. Sure, there's pork barrel and things that happen where some states get a lot of federal funding because they have very good senators and congresspeople and some don't. You know, political fortunes play a role in how much money a state gets. But by and large, we treat all 50 states equally. You know, in terms of its relationship with the federal government. Donald Trump's trying to change that and punish blue states. Sounds like he's calling for a civil war. He's calling for the blue states to secede from the Union. I mean, that is a possibility. Not one that I promote at the present time, but we need to call out these particular issues. What do I think is going to happen? I think he's going to lose. I think the threat is a threat. I think they're going to get it blocked by a judge in California, likely San Francisco, and we're off and running at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals up to the United States Supreme Court. But I'll follow it all right here. All the different permutations, all the different angles, all the different facets of these cases at the intersection of law and politics. I have no choice. You made me do it. No, I have no choice because we need to talk truth to each other. And we're doing it here every day on Legal AF. Take a moment, hit the free subscribe button, go over to Legal AF Substack where I post all the filings that we talk about along with commentary and the rest. So until my next report, I am Michael Popok and you are on Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.